As most of you have been told, he has been the part of this community since the year 2001, and I have prayed in this masjid every time I visit Douglasville. As Dr. Patel said, I lost my husband in the year 2015, November 2015. My husband's death was sudden. No one in my social circle had lost a spouse. Though surrounded by many well-wishers, there was no one to guide me about the paperwork that entails the following the death of a spouse. My husband died without writing a will. It was he who paid the monthly bill. Though literate in many ways, I was totally ignorant in this area. By profession, I am a high school math teacher. I take pride in better preparing my students for college. As I stand before you, I would like to talk to you about a delicate and difficult topic, death of a spouse, a topic that society often avoids. I want to share my journey of carrying out various paperwork and better prepare you and ease your journey in case there is an eventuality in your life. Kullu nafsin zaiqul maut. I have listed the major actions. You would have received a flyer by now. I will talk about each one of them. I have included my email in case you would like further information. Feel free to contact me. The first bullet point is about the death certificate. When my husband died in Houston, the funeral and the last rites were performed by the Greater ISGH, the Islamic Society of Greater Houston. There were friends who contacted the institute, and when I went there, I took the following documents with me to obtain the death certificate. I took my social security number, my husband's social security number, our marriage certificate, my driver's license, and proof of residence. In my case, as per my request, after seeing all these documents, the person in charge made the death certificate there and there. I checked for any typo errors. I found one or two and I corrected them. So after that, all he had to do was send it to an office, a judge's office, have it signed and have it printed on a colorful paper. In my case, in my husband's case, the death certificate was prepared in 5 days. But in case you go with improper paperwork, or in case you do not request that it be typed in your presence, it can take up to 4 to 6 weeks. When you go for documentation of various aspects, they always ask a death certificate. In case you do not get the death certificate on time, many of the other paperwork gets delayed. That is why I started with the first bullet, the death certificate. The second thing is the communication. My husband died at home, and I had the responsibility of sharing this news with the people at his workplace, my workplace. I also chose to send emails to the teachers. I am blessed with two children. Both of them were in school at that point of time. Okay, so I also chose to communicate with the teachers, the counselors, the principals of my children. Effective communication has its own intangibles, and that is what I am going to share with you. This was not in my case, but as I am a high school teacher, I do come across students who cannot handle the loss of a parent or even the loss of a grandparent effectively, and they need counseling. So when you communicate effectively with the school, and different authorities in the school are aware of it, in case your child is not able to handle the grief and shows repercussions even 3 or 4 weeks down the road, then you can take the help of a child psychologist within the school premises. The child psychologist does not have to be a resident of the school. This I am saying as I am a high school teacher. It could also be a visiting child psychologist, and this services is provided by the school for free. When the funeral arrangements had to be made, as my husband and I work in the public sector, naturally some of the people attending the funeral would be of different ethnicities and different faiths. So I spoke to the director of the masjid, the imam who was going to lead the prayer, and requested that wherever possible, make a speech in English. Some of you might have attended the wake of which is conducted in the Christian community. So as per his suggestion, I not only we provided some snacks for the guests. The people of other beds were referred to as guests there, with the dates, which is sunnah, the water, and some cookies. Being an immigrant to USA, I was not aware of many of the laws. So do my friends. I discovered one thing, that if the credit card originates from the social security of the dead person, the entire amount gets forgiven. And the amount can be as little as 100 or 200. Later on, I learned that a certain individual had a credit debt of $30,000, and all of it was forgiven. So my suggestion to you would be that when just make a phone call, the 1-800 number, to the credit card, explain to them that the person has died. Do not use that credit card, do not use that debit card. Whatever is the amount will get frozen, and the account gets closed. Later on, of course, when you get the death certificate, you have to provide with it. As far as whenever there is a major life-changing event, for example, in the case, my husband was paying the healthcare benefits of my children. In this case, you have got 30 days to change that. It does not have to occur whenever you all do your health benefits at the start of the fiscal year. It can happen even within the middle of the year, and it can be done as long as it is the first 30 days. So in my case, the health benefits of my children was moved from his to mine. At this time I was not aware, but in case you can include the services of a lawyer, please do it, because then when you have to do anything regarding the will, the expenses, you do get a discount because the will is covered as part of your benefits. My husband died without a will, so I had to do some paperwork around it. As per the laws of this country, the house belongs to both of us, my husband and I. It was purchased when I was in a state of marriage with him. So half the house belonged to me and the half the house belongs to him. Now God forbid if somebody comes and tells that they are also an heir to that house. So I urge you to take this delicate topic and pay attention to the writing of a will. When you talk to different lawyers are going to come up with different amounts. It can so happen that someone will show you a smaller quote but may not do the different aspects of the will. And here I have elaborated in the flyer the different aspects. In my case, my children are minor. Now my daughter is 18, but my son still is 15 and he is a minor. So I have to choose that in case there is an eventuality of my death, who is going to take care of my children? You have to choose a guardian, an attorney, a medical power of attorney, a person who is going to execute the will. These can be different individuals. It can be a friend, it can be a family member. In my case, I chose it to be my brother. The form requires you to choose 2 executors. For me, the first executive is my brother, Farooq. The second one is his wife. But one has to face different possibilities. So I requested the lawyer that please include a third name. And the logic behind it is both the executors of my will, in case I die early, are a husband and wife. And I do not know how to paraphrase it, but if an eventuality happens to both of them, what will happen? And I cannot have the will void, so I chose a third person, and this was as per my request. I chose the same individual as the guardian, the general power of attorney, the medical documents which needs to be released, and for the execution of the will. In my case, my brother Farooq will have to fly over to Houston, appear in the court and do it. It is highly recommended that the person be from USA. He could be from a different city, but not international, because international travel and attending to the laws over here becomes a little bit cumbersome. When you talk of different aspects of the will, there are certain delicate questions that what if I fall sick, and what if I need a ventilator? What if I'm in a state of coma? What if I fall sick and my leg needs to be amputated? What are the conditions, what are the decisions which the executor has to take? These are some of the delicate topics. I may or may not be in a state of good health to make these decisions. So in my case, I have not only spoken to my daughter who is 18 years old, but I have also spoken to my brother in each case what needs to be done. When there is clarity of thought, in case there is an eventuality, when you are already not in a position to make logical decisions, let us not make it more difficult for the loved ones who have to take these decisions for us, and make it a time to talk about these aspects of our life to our loved family members. There is something called the pay on death. This you all can do right away. Pay on death is an option which the bank provides. In my case, the bank account was a joint one. So there you have a provision so that in case there is a death, to whom should the amount go? This is called pay on death. You can provide the name of anyone whom you want. It can be a blood relation, your child, it could be just a friend. In my case, I have chosen the pay on death to be both my children. And they don't have to reach of age to do this. This can be done in about 10 minutes in the bank. You just have to take the social security number and the name of that person, and then in case there is an eventuality, they have complete access to that amount. They do not have to go through the executor route to access this amount. I have come across this example that a husband and wife both died in a car accident in Chicago, and people had to raise money because the pay on death had not been done, and people had to raise money to even perform the funeral rites of this couple. You do not have, I did it after my husband's passing away, but even if I would highly recommend that husband and wife both go ahead with the right paperwork and have it done. My husband was a professor, so naturally I obtained some cash benefits, because this was not complicated for me because he had written me as the beneficiary. So I got it straight away. But the thing over here is that I had to initiate the conversation. And I did receive the checks. You do not have to cash the checks away directly. You can delay them as much as possible. I think up to 2 years. It is 13 months since my husband passed away and I have not cashed all the checks. I will tell you the logic behind this. My daughter was a high school student at the time of death. So naturally she was applying for scholarships to different places. This amount that I received, if I were to cash it, I would look artificially very rich. And when you do the FAFSA, you have to declare the bank account. That is why I chose. So I get a checks, and then we have to cash them in 90 days, and after that they become void. There is a form that you fill after the 90 days are void, and then you send them back, and then the company sends you back another one. I have already done this thrice. Okay, because my husband was a public sector employee, we benefited by the Social Security. Now this may or may not apply to all of you, because some of you may be self-employed. So I did not get any Social Security benefits, but as both my children were minors at that point of time, both of them get it, and both of them will get it till their 18th birthday, or even if they are 19 years old, whenever they finish the high school. You call the Social Security office as soon as possible. You get an appointment. In my case, I got an appointment for 5 weeks after my phone call. So when I had already got the death certificate, but you do not have to wait for it. You just take an appointment as long as you are able to take the death certificate with them. Whichever phone calls I have made to various offices, I have found those people very helpful. If you do not explain, they explain you and they talk to you very gently, and they walk you through the steps of what all documents you need to take with them. If you are not an English speaker, you can initiate the conversation and then you can tell them that, hey, I do not speak the English, somebody else is going to talk on my behalf. So these things are very easy. In the case of the benefits, when the Human Resource Department received my husband's death, they sealed his account, and then I had to call, in my case, the Minnesota Life to receive the benefits. They sent me a form, I filled it along with the original death certificate, and I sent it, and then that is how they sent me the cash, the checks. The house that I live in, which comes under the mortgage category, was taken in both our names. I had tremendous, many questions that do I inform the mortgage company that my husband has passed away? And I had to do a lot of homework in this area. And the final conclusion is that as long as the payments are being made, you do not have to inform them that one of the persons has passed away, as long as you are doing the payments on time. You do not have to go for a remortgage. When we took the mortgage, the loan was based on my husband's salary as well as mine. If I go for remortgage now, there is only my salary. So it is naturally understood that I won't get as good as interest loan as I currently have. I also got an opportunity to speak to an ex-loan officer, a mortgage officer, and then I had a direct conversation with him. Today, let us say if I choose to pay $50,000 towards the mortgage because of the benefits that I have received after my husband's death, it is not going to show a red flag. If the cards, etc., are on the spouse name, you can directly fill a form, go to the county office and do the paperwork. The charge is very nominal. It just costs you 1 or 2 hours waiting in line and doing it. That is very straightforward. You all can do it. The other aspect is the reinvestments of whatever funds that my husband had. I have got 2 years to decide it. I have not done that so far because I was advised to wait till the elections were clear. But I still have got 11 months where I can have the funds transferred to my name. And as long as I do not cash them, I will not have to pay any tax penalties. So as you all are listening to me, I would request you with a sense of urgency to do the following. I request you to go home and share with your spouse the passwords, the billing procedure, and the various security questions which are asked when you want to access the bank account, the mortgage, the credit cards, etc. I urge you to have 2 credit cards, one based on your social security and the one based on the other. Remember, when my husband died, the one credit card had to be sealed, but I still had a backup which I could use for my day-to-day life until a new one was mailed to me. Please take pay on death seriously. It is free of cost. You just have to go to the bank. It takes you only 10 minutes. But it is going to save a lot of heartache of your loved ones who are left behind. Please write a will. When you write a will, there are multiple questions which I had to face. How do I write an Islamic will? Whom do I hire? Should my lawyer be a Muslim? There are certain delicate questions which are asked in the will, like what if your child dies and you are left with a grandchild, what kind of an amount do you want to leave behind? How much do you want to live with the first grandchild, the second grandchild, and the third grandchild, and so on? As you all are well aware, the Islamic laws of inheritance get more complicated when in the case of an eventuality of a death of a child, and these are the questions which are very difficult for us to handle. This is what I did, and I will share my experience. I spoke to the lawyer. I have left 1/3 of my property to my daughter and 2/3 to my son. In case there is an eventuality in my life, I have the option of going and editing that will. So some of the uncomfortable questions have been deferred. This is how the lawyer explained things to me, that cash value is attached to the house we own, the bank balance, the gold that I own, the car, And all of that, with the help of the executor, will be divided into an approximate ratio of 1/3 for the daughter and 2/3 for the son. I am grateful to the Imam, Dr. Patel, and the leadership in this room to give me an opportunity to talk about this topic. I feel privileged and honored to speak to each one of you. Today I do not consider the death of my husband a personal loss, rather a means to become a better and stronger person. Allah is the best manager of my affairs. Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakeel. I know deep in my heart Allah has great things in store for my daughter Sana and my son Ahmed sitting in the audience today. Everything in life happens for a reason. I do not feel alone. I have felt Allah's presence and divine guidance, and as I went and spoke to different people and asked them for help, people outside my social circle, when I was speaking to the strangers about the social security, the hunt for a lawyer, and the list goes on. I owe this to my parents' deep spiritual strength and upbringing of me. As I reflect back, I see that Allah was preparing me for this day. My children are products of an Islamic school. They went to an Islamic school right from kindergarten up to middle school. I say this with great pride that they showed remarkable maturity and spirituality when their dad passed away. It was the reflection of what they have learned in their Islamic school and seen being practiced at home. My son Ahmed, 13-year-old at the time of his dad's death, took part in ghusl and the lowering of the dad in the grave. In my opinion, spirituality is an important in one's life, and the excellent way to attain it is by coming and associating oneself with the masjid. And this is what the Imam was referring to today in his khutbah in such a beautiful manner when he spoke about 10 points of spiritual goals. So I would like to re-emphasize what the Imam has said and conclude that you are blessed to be part of a masjid in a foreign land. Here are some of my suggestions. Please treat this masjid as one of the focal points of your life along with your job or studies. Be an active member. See that your kids are involved with Sunday school activities and other events. Allah tests us in mysterious ways. It does not necessarily always have to be the eventuality of a death. Your spiritual strength and the deep-rooted belief that Allah is the best manager of our affairs will prepare you through various challenges of life. I once again thank the leadership and Dr. Patel for giving me this opportunity. I hope you have benefited from this, and please free to contact me. Jazakallah khair. Kaseer.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Bushra. Any of the brothers have any questions? So sister, she can answer any of the questions right now, or if you want to communicate with her either by email or text, do so. They are very important topics. What she just addressed, it was too much of volume, but go and reflect. One important thing is will. Our masjid page has a will, which has been prepared after months and months of workout. So just go and fill up. You should not sleep more than 48 hours without a will, especially so when you are living in a non-Muslim country. It's an obligation. So try to reflect. If any questions, do contact her. If you think this was helpful, we can ask her to come back again and address the gathering. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So you're going to say asr prayer?
Inshallah.
अच्छा ये वो अच्छा ठीक ये वो
Inshallah.
अच्छा ये वो अच्छा ठीक ये वो